following announcement has been paid for by the WZWA Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the WZWA Network and our review show of Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory 2021. Yes, this is going to be a crazy week, and before I get into that, I better introduce my co-host here at this time, Juicy Boy, Daniel Johnston. What's going on, brother?
What is happening, my man? The big one, the big motherfucker for Impact Wrestling / TNA, Bound for Glory. We were planning on getting to this last night and putting it out straight away, but unfortunately, after the debacle that was Dynamite's most recent episode, which you should check out our review of that right now, we couldn't stomach any more wrestling in that 24-hour interval. So the Bound for Glory review is here a day late, but better late than never, and here we go.
Yeah, bro, it was just like, gosh, after going nearly 2 hours yesterday with Dynamite, then doing the review, to have to go like nearly 3 hours watching Bound for Glory and then review that, man, forget about it. There's no chance of that happening. But I want to let everyone out there know that we will be reviewing NXT's Halloween Havoc this week. We will also be reviewing Dynamite again and the NWA pay-per-view that'll be coming up later in the week. So there is a few things coming up. Just wanted to keep everyone in the know about that. And we didn't review NXT last week because Juicy Boy was sick. So anyway, enough about all that. Bound for Glory, Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory. I haven't seen a Bound for Glory, I think, potentially since, like in full, I think when Rhino beat Jeff Jarrett for the NWA World title. It's been that long. I might have seen some matches, but not a full Bound for Glory. So this is a bit different, bro. We see the arena as the show begins after the Josh Alexander hype video. And I just want to say this quickly. I already learned more about him in 2 minutes in that little package than I have a heap of characters in WWE and AEW in months. Mm-hmm. And, it's a bit rich me saying WWE because I don't actually watch the programming, but I already know that I'm correct in that assessment. So I was invested in the main event out of the gate. I didn't know anything about Josh Alexander. Yes, this is the first time we're going to be reviewing Impact here, everyone. So what did you think of the setup, bro? It was in Las Vegas. It was sold out. I know you're a bit iffy about the crowd and all that.
Well, it's okay. It's like this. It's a layout issue. If the building is sold out and everything, that's great. I just felt like the lighting arrangements and the way that they had things laid out weren't conducive to kind of making the most out of the fact that the building was sold out. They've got this relatively small crowd area. I really feel like they should have not had these big blue LED things right in the background, and they should have kept all the lighting on the ring and had like sparse lighting around the audience. And yeah, I just think that would have given it a more intimate, more sort of like kind of like a more ECW crowd sort of feel, which I think is what you want for a big event where you're perhaps running a smaller building. But what I did like about the audience overall was that they seemed to be invested in the product and stuff like that. It seemed like they knew who everyone was and that they were there because they wanted to be there, which is refreshing to see on an Impact / TNA. Well, it's just Impact now for a while. Impact program.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Good to have fans that aren't there to hijack the show, right? And they're just there to enjoy the show and boo the heels, cheer the baby faces, etc. I will just quickly talk about the lighting before we dig deep into this. I felt like when Iinspiration had made their entrance, I just thought, okay, well, maybe the lighting's just a bit off because they're making their entrance. But when they got in the ring and the match started, I said to you, man, like something's not right with the lighting. It's a little dark. So we had to actually up the brightness on our VLC player, and it looked what it should have looked like. So it didn't bother us for the rest of the show. But I thought it was important to mention that the lighting just didn't seem right for the show, at least on the ring. Striker and D'Lo Brown on commentary. Fantastic team on this show. I am down with the Brown. Wanted to throw that out there. First match, bro. Okay, first match. Let's get into it. Havok and Rosemary defending the Impact Women's Tag Team Championships against Iinspiration, which is Jessie McKay and Cassie Lee, the former Iconics from WWE. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research going into this, so I don't know if they've already had matches in Impact yet or if this was their first match. But here it is, women's tag titles. What did you think, bro?
Well, I believe they may have done some work. I'd never really seen Rosemary before. I'm a fan of Jessica Havok. I like her look. I think she's attractive as well. I think she's good in the ring. I like the big powerhouse monster aura that she carries with her. And I want to talk about the Iinspiration themselves first. This is what happens. Like, okay, clearly they've been given the opportunity to put a little bit of their own input in how they're going to present themselves. And the only word that can be used to describe the way that the Iinspiration came across on this show was star, right? They had the aura. They had the presence. If they did the exact same physical movements and gestures and facial expressions in the WWE, they'd be like, oh God, these girls have it, but they weren't allowed to do that. They weren't allowed to show it outside of their personality. So I think that their entrance and the whole them coming down to the ring was the highlight of this match for me. Impact has a star tag team on their hands. I thought the match itself in ring was a little choppy and a little bit clunky and a little bit disjointed. And it seemed like on a few occasions here and there, the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing. Definitely the right decision to have the Iinspiration win. I think that you can build the women's tag division around them with everybody being angry that they continue to hold on to the titles somehow. Because they are, they're not bad in the ring, but they're characters, right? They're not people that are going to go out there and have like the 45-minute, revival style tag. They're not the jumping bomb angels,
Yeah.
Which that's a dated reference, but people who know who I'm talking about will get the comparison. But what they are is they're more closely compared to a team like Laycool, who are tremendous on the mic, full of bombacity and just panache and presence. And I think that the fact that they're Australian as well, they have that Australian sense of humor that a lot of people that don't live in Australia, like I want to point this out, yes, the characters of Billie Kay and Cassie Lee are a little bit exaggerated, but they are really not far from what a lot of your average Australian women are really like, which is beautiful, confident, independent, sassy, intelligent,
funny,
sharp. Yeah, absolutely. They are the quintessential Australian women. And I mean that in a complimentary way, because I think that, we have some of the most beautiful women in the world here, but all women are beautiful. But you get what I'm saying, right? They bring that unique flavor with them that you don't see from the other performers just by virtue of the cultural background that they come from. And another thing that I don't want to just harp on the Iinspiration for this entire part, but I have to point out as well, there's a real chemistry that seems very natural. Like, I know that these two ladies are actually good friends outside of the ring, like IRL. They've hosted podcasts together. They socialized together. Obviously, they stuck together after they got split up in WWE and then respectively released. They've decided to stick together and continue the act. That genuine friendship and genuine camaraderie between them comes across on screen, and that's what's so much missing, not just from women's wrestling, but the tag division in general across the board in pro wrestling is missing a lot of that element of teams that are genuinely happy to be spending time together because they really are friends. So that needs to be pointed out. I think that Jessica Havok would be better served being partnered with somebody that's a little bit larger physically, that matches up with her size. And then Rosemary would have made a great second on the outside of the ring. I feel like for this match to really work the way that they wanted, you needed two bigger girls in there. You've got Jessica Havok. She's a larger lady. I really felt like a second if Jessica Havok's tag partner was also somebody of a larger stature, that would have really aided the storytelling in this match. But as it was, unfortunately, it was a little bit clunky, but A-grade performance from the Iinspiration themselves. Overall, I'm going to give this a C+, because it could have been better in the ring.
Yeah, cool, bro. Yeah, little botchy early on. You've covered all of that. Another thing, I don't like a show where the entrance is the background. I prefer the crowd being in the background, but that's fine. Not a big deal. I kind of felt Jessica Havok, her timing was off in the match. But overall, I enjoyed the contest and was just chuffed to see the Iinspiration win the championships. And the only other thing I really wanted to add was Solo Monster. I don't understand what it is that you don't get about them. Like, I don't know how you can say I don't get their thing. Like, how difficult is it to understand?
It's weird. I'm a huge fan of his, but you got a guy that lives in New York City that's complaining about two women that talk too much and are too loud. It just doesn't make sense that he wouldn't get the idea behind it.
I guess Solo Monster maybe doesn't hang out with girls enough. I don't know. But moving forward, I want to just quickly mention D'Lo Brown's jacket was tremendous. And you know what? I noticed Matt Stryker has the same nose as Steve Carell.
I thought he looked like Rob Lowe, man. I really did. I thought he looked like Rob Lowe.
His nose is identical to Steve Carell's. I don't know how I picked up on that. I just did. Deonna and Rewalt backstage for an interview. Good promo from Deonna. Not really much to talk about there.
No.
But the next thing was the hot three-way X Division Championship match, bro. El Phantasmo, Trey, Miguel, and Steve Maclin. The first time I've seen these three perform. I'm going to run through my notes quickly. As Steve Maclin made his entrance, Trey's name came up. They fixed it, but I noticed that. Shit happens. The only thing early on I did not enjoy, I didn't think that there was necessary, was the nipple cripple spot that Phantasmo pulled on Maclin. I thought Trey Miguel was very innovative with some of the stuff he was doing, especially the spot where he had him locked in a submission and also hit a fucking Northern Lights suplex. There was a bunch of things that he did there that was quite impressive. One thing that you and I both remarked on was like, everyone's into those running knees, but at least we didn't see 40 of them. Good to see the X Division nearly 20 years after it was created still being carried along. There's still young guys out there that are keeping the spirit of that division going. So I'm happy to see that for the X Division. Miguel wins. Personally, I thought he should be the one that won the match. I just thought just from his performance alone and the way that he carried himself as a character and a performer, for me, I was like, I would like him to win the match. But I know that you were more of a fan of Phantasmo, possibly. So please, DJ, give me your thoughts on this match.
Well, yeah, I for me, Phantasmo was the MVP in the ring. I thought the way that he seamlessly transitioned between working with the other two opponents in the match, he was really we saw a lot of, spectacular stuff from both Maclin and Miguel, but I think that Phantasmo was like the glue that was holding that together, and getting them to those spots. I kind of disagree about Miguel, wanting Miguel to win the match. I think he's a good choice as well, but I personally would have loved to have seen Steve Maclin, the no-nonsense heel, take out the X Division title here after everyone in the crowd gets whipped into a frenzy and they're excited to see this high flyer get the belt. I thought that would have been a nice touch. Hindsight, though, given some of the decisions they made later on, I see why they went with a babyface win here. Tremendous match. I enjoyed what I saw from all three guys. Next time I get an opportunity to watch a match with these guys in it, I will be checking it out because they made the most of their opportunity here to show me as a first-time viewer what they could do. And I agree with you, man. It's really cool to see that 20 years later on, a lot of these young, high-flying wrestlers are growing up watching the X Division. And so there is the legacy of TNA wrestling. For all the bad that you might want to say, I think the X Division and Option C is, a long-lasting positive legacy that TNA has had on professional wrestling. And you know, we saw that exemplified in this match. A- match. Great work from all involved.
Yeah, it just.
Oh, hang on. One more thing, man. Sorry. One more thing. I don't want to forget this because I wanted to make a note of it. Steve Maclin's spear tackle. Steve Maclin does this impressive running spear tackle into the corner where, you know, the guy's in the turnbuckle waiting. He just fucking rams the shit out of him with that running shoulder tackle. Jason Jordan used to do a similar move. You know, he hit it once on Phantasmo, went to hit it on Miguel. Miguel moved out of the way. Miguel jumped into a handspring, flipping handspring maneuver. Maclin took the opportunity. Boom! Spear tackle on an upside down Trey Miguel, sending Miguel head first through the ropes and to the outside. Amazing spot. One of my favorite spots of the entire show. Had to point that out specifically. Now I'm done.
Okay, cool, bro. Cut me off again, and your ass cheeks will be the same color as your jacket. Okay, no, that's fine, bro. It was good that you mentioned that. And I know I had a point to make, but then I ended up forgetting it because you had a point to make. But it doesn't matter. I don't think it was anything that important anyway. Yeah, moving forward, there's a Mickie James interview. Wow, what do you know? Mickie can cut a great promo. And the only other note I wrote was WWE sniff my bumhole. Fuck you. Like, honestly, fuck them, man. Like, how dare you bring her back and then, like, do sweet fuck all with her and make her unimportant the whole time she's there. She's just shown here in NWA 73 that she can do it, bro. Moving forward from there, okay, there's this great little package, and this is something that I'm enjoying with Impact. Every match that had build-up had a package. And this is the Violent by Design tag team match against Heath and the potential tag team partner being Rhino, bringing their tag team over from their time in WWE. I'm glad to have seen that as well. Bro, what did you think of this affair?
Yeah, well, I've really enjoyed actually the glimpses, because I don't watch a lot of Impact, but I've seen glimpses of Heath here and there. Basically, he had a great match with Drew McIntyre for the title right before he got released. That was tremendous. Rode that wave of momentum along with the Rhino tag team into a little spot for himself in Impact. He and Rhino were interacting on Impact TV earlier on when Heath first came in. It was great stuff. This was kind of the culmination of that. So this has all actually been going on for a while. It goes all the way back to when Heath first came into the company. You know, I think that everybody watching this, including us, just hoped, wanted, expected Rhino to eventually show up and lend Heath a hand here and reunite the tag team, get the boys back together. That was exactly what we saw. Business picked up. Rhino was not there for most of this match, sorry. It was a handicap match. Heath plays the babyface in distress very well. I really liked that. I think that there's a lot of empathy that he can get from the audience just with his facial expressions and stuff. Wanted to point that out. The match overall, I'd give it a B-. Loved it when Rhino came in. Rhino cleans house, dominates, gore, 1, 2, 3. Everybody's happy. Rhino and Heath celebrate. Fantastic. Exactly what it needed to be. Nothing more, nothing less.
Excellent, bro. I have to say I like Violent by Design, and I wrote down Eric Young has always done good work. I was hoping it was going to be in the match, but it didn't matter because the guys did a great job out there. And yeah, I just wrote, is it that much to ask for hype promos or hype packages before matches on pay-per-views? Thank you to Impact for doing that. I think when you get to a pay-per-view and if there's a pre-existing issue and there's a story, then we need to see a package beforehand because it helps people like us who don't actually watch the weekly product at the moment. You never know what happens in future, but it helps us be caught up to date. Now we're more invested in the match. I also want to say Matt Stryker is such an analyst as he's commentating. He's so precise. There's like a science behind a lot of things that he talks about on commentary. He's very methodical with the way he does it. He doesn't shout and carry on unless it's important. And I also wrote, it must be so fucking nice being able to actually be a part of an angle and be in that part of the, because look where Heath, Rhino, and Violent by Design are on the the roster there. They're not main event guys. They're kind of like in the middle there, but at least they get given a story. Isn't that nice? How hard is that? And the story's a little different than the usual. It's not that cookie cutter cut and paste that you see with AEW and WWE. People on this area of the card, they won't get a fucking angle anyway. So this is what I'm enjoying with Impact and what I'm noticing. I wanted to say my favorite part of the match obviously was when Rhino entered. Love that it was just, he came in, House of Fire, fucking took him out. Gore, 1, 2, 3.
The big Rhino.
The big fucking Rhino. A big win, and happy to see them back together. And, you know, that's a tag team in their tag team division that I care about. And, you know, in WWE, they had that first story with both of them together. About Heath having kids and all that. And, you know, they got together. They became the first SmackDown Tag Champions. And then after that, there was no progression of the story of the characters. It was just, they were just a tag team now. And then all of a sudden they were split up because Rhino was, you know, told to go home or whatever. And they weren't going to be using him any further. They just wanted to keep him under contract and have him do nothing. Fuck that. He leaves the company. He comes to Impact. They're doing stuff. They're picking up where they left off in WWE, and they're actually having a story and continuing it and having things happen. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Thank you, fucking Impact Wrestling, bro.
You know, I think it needs to also be mentioned here. I won't hop on it for long, but I think it needs to be mentioned that is one of the best things about there now being so many places for wrestlers to go. We now have WWE, we've got AEW, they're the two big ones. You still got Impact, you still got NWA, you've still got Ring of Honor, you've got MLW now. And that means that we can see people from past, present, future, adding new chapters to their career, even when they're not on one of the big two promotions. And that's valuable, like we're seeing here with Heath and Rhino. So thought I'd point that out.
Excellent, bro. Okay. The match of the show that put you in a bad mood. 20-person Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I'm going to list off everyone who's in the match. Chris Sabin, Rocky Romero, Madman Fulton, Rohit Raju, Tasha Steeles, Rachel Ellering, Savannah Evans, Johnny Swinger with Hernandez making a cameo, Melina, the Demon of all people, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, the Laredo Kid, a guy who I considered white trash, Brian Pillman Jr., Sam Beal, Rich Swann, Ace Austin, Moose, Eddie Edwards, Alicia, and W. Morrissey.
Who is
and when I say white
cast.
trash, when I say white trash Brian Pillman Jr., I don't mean that as an insult. I just thought his look made him look like a rougher version of him. So, look, man, what was it that you didn't like about this?
The fact that it was an intergender match. I'm a huge fan of, you know, people like Rachel Ellering. I really liked what I saw from Tasha Steeles out there. But it's just, to me, as a fan, doesn't look credible that, especially with guys like Moose in the match, that any of the female competitors were going to win. So I was bothered by the fact that they made it an intergender thing. I would have preferred to simply see a men's gauntlet and a women's gauntlet separately so that we could have showcased more of the women, got more of the women on the card in a match. And I think it would have been a lot more comfortable for everybody involved, because a lot of the time, particularly when the males were coming into the ring, you could tell that they weren't really coming in as houses on fire, because they had to be careful about, I don't just want to be, you know, throwing shots and accidentally hit one of the girls or anything like that. So it felt a little bit like, you know, the men and the women weren't necessarily on the same page. I felt like it was really out of place for this to be an intergender match. And I also felt like, you know, Demon comes in, huge pop moment. W. Morrissey, the former Big Cass, should be a huge pop moment. But these guys came in and they didn't really have their moments to shine, where it was like, okay, let's get a look at them. Let's see what they're, you know, how they're moving and stuff. You know, somebody makes an appearance in a gauntlet or a rumble or a battle royal match of this nature. You want to see them come in and, you know, kick a little ass and get their little moment to shine. And I felt like we were robbed of that opportunity from every contestant in this match, except for Moose, who ended up going on to win the match. Moose is obviously the MVP. I'm a huge fan of his. But but yeah, this match didn't work for me, and also it just felt like it was going on for forever. And again, I think while it's good that they had the Demon and Matt Cardona and people like that in this match, I think they failed to capitalize on them appearing. So I'm giving this a D+.
Oh, bro. No, I understand where you're coming from there because, if the guy comes in like a house of fire and he's laying people out with these big clotheslines or big maneuvers, like if it's a baby face and like say he comes in and he lays fucking Tasha Steelz the fuck out with a big move, that kind of would get a bit, maybe a heel reaction. It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, don't pick on someone so much smaller than you. I don't know. It's a good point, and the intergender thing can be so weird sometimes when it comes to, you don't really want to see men on women violence, you know what I mean? But at the same time, people want to see it be an equal playing field. But it's a very difficult conversation to have. Some people get real upset when you're against it. But I think we're just looking at it from a point of view of a fan of like, we don't really like seeing the two worlds collide in that way because it just doesn't work unless it's someone like Kong, unless it's someone like China, or even like a Beth Phoenix. It would be, plausible with her because she was a bigger woman and she was fucking jacked. I could see someone like Jessica Havok coming in here. Okay.
Or Shayna Baszler from WWE,
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, I keep bringing the name up, but Tasha Steelz, she's very small. So I just feel like, I wouldn't want to see her or Alicia, who came in later, get their head kicked off by someone. It's just not something that I'd want to witness. So the only other notes that I wanted to say was I really loved Johnny Swinger's character work in this. I really was impressed with Morrissey and his look. He's really got himself in some great shape. The Demon making an entrance into this, again, important when you do a gauntlet or a rumble. You're always going to have at least one or two nice surprises that you're not expecting. No one thought the Demon, Dale Torborg, of all people, was going to enter this thing. So I was just like, as a WCW guy, that was big for me, seeing him come out there.
That was a highlight for me of this entire match. Want to also, before we move on, shout out Brian Myers as well. I thought he did some good work too.
Yeah, I liked his elimination. I also liked Madman Fulton's elimination and him coming out later on to fuck with Chris Sabin, continuing that story. And, of course, Moose winning the matchup was also fantastic. And I want to say that about Rohit, he knows how to be big and exaggerated with his performance. He's very good. He's got the wrestling side down, but also the sports entertaining side down. After this was a funny little promo with Heath and Uncle Rhino. Uncle Rhino's back. I thought that was a cute little thing there. Moving forward, bro, Impact Men's Tag Team Championships here. The Good Brothers, FinJuice, and the Bullet Club in a triple threat tag team matchup. First pinfall for a finish. No elimination here. I'll just run through my notes quickly here before I throw it to you, bro. I thought Juice Robinson was insane. This is the first time I'd ever seen him perform. I was very impressed. And I kind of felt like this is the kind of guy that could probably pull off like a Brian Pillman loose cannon type character. He was very vocal and a little unpredictable character-wise, and I like that he stayed in character the whole time. Love the work between the two big men. I can't remember his name, but he's Meng's son. Him and Gallows, their collisions. When those two worked together, I was into it. It came across believable. I thought the Bullet Club as a tag team worked great together. Was very impressed with Dave Finlay. First time I'd ever seen him before. And of course, the finish of the match, loved it. Thought it was fantastic. The way that the Good Brothers stole the victory and continue to be the Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions. DJ, the floor is yours.
Yeah, look, I don't have tons to say about it. I liked the fact that the commentators really treated this like it was a big deal. The second biggest match on the show, basically, they treated it as. I like that. The tag titles should be considered A1 next to the world title. If the world title is A, the tag titles are A1. The mid-card title should actually technically be ranked lower than the tag titles, in my view of how wrestling works. And I liked the fact that they were like, man, this is a big match at Bound for Glory. It's for the Impact tag titles. Huge deal. So I loved the whole aura of the presentation, the feel. It had like a big fight feel to it. It felt like these are, here are 6 guys. Each team has a credible case to be made for why they'd make great Impact Tag Champions. And they're going to go out there and settle it. And we're going to see who's the best, who deserves to hold those belts. You don't get straight up old school, knockdown, drag out wrestling as much as I would like these days. It's very nice to see like a match where all the intensity and all the stakes are built around the tag titles themselves. And then all the other stuff like the Gallows and Anderson interacting with the new Bullet Club members and saying how they made the Too Sweet thing famous and stuff. That was all sort of like, accoutrement extras to go on top of the main story, which was all about the tag titles. And so the whole thing came across tremendously for me. I'm going to give it a B+. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Excellent, bro. Excellent. And one thing I also wanted to add on, it's nice to see a multi-tag team match that isn't fucking full of bullshit with the fucking dives to the outside and fucking everyone all grouped together and one guy comes off the top rope and they all fall down. We see it all the fucking time, and usually I fucking roll my eyes and groan when I know that there's going to be, a multi-tag team match or many more than, just 2 tag teams in there. So in this case, it was, yes, as you said, good to see just a knockdown, drag out fucking fight between these teams. Moving forward, bro, Deonna Purrazzo, I knew I was going to say it wrong. Deonna Purrazzo, the Impact Women's Champion, taking on the legendary Mickie James. I'm going to let you take this one, bro. What did you think of the Women's Championship, the Knockouts Championship match? Sorry.
Well, first thing I want to point out is I really enjoyed the hype package for this match. I really like Deonna going to Mickie James's house on her farm and attacking her. They've built this into a personal rivalry. I liked the fact that came across so that by the time they came out for the match, you're excited. Whereas I just talked about the importance of the championship itself in the tag title match. Now we're switching over to something which can be equally as effective, where now the championship is the extra, and the personal issue is the main driver of this match. And I thought that these 2 ladies did tremendously. I thought that this felt like a legitimate title match with a legitimate contender that actually had heat on it. The crowd were really into it. I loved the fact that I didn't know who was going to win the entire time. It didn't feel like as we say, the foregone conclusion. Congratulations to Deonna Purrazzo on what was a tremendous reign. I believe she held the Impact, the Knockouts title for over 400 days. So, congratulations to her. Mickie James ends up getting the victory. And, again, like you said earlier on in the show here, proven that she still has it. She's still one of the best women in the industry, and I think she showed that here as well as at NWA. I'm going to give this probably an A-, bro. I thought this was really well done.
Excellent, bro. I'm going to follow up on those sentiments about the build-up. Great build-up, attacking her at the horse stables. They're brawling, and hey, that's tremendous. I love that kind of stuff. Attacking her in another company at NWA 73. We watched that pay-per-view. We popped big time when she took off the hood and it was her, and she laid Mickie out after her big win. Wow, good actual angles that don't use the cookie cutter cut and paste shit that AEW do. With usually their feuds with the women involve Britt Baker cutting a promo and then someone interrupts, or someone's doing an interview backstage and Britt Baker interrupts. The same thing every fucking time. They haven't written one decent angle for them. And when it comes to the WWE women's division, it's all about, I'm the best, I should be the champion, I think I can beat you. There's never any real personal rivalries that do stuff outside of the arena, that outside at someone's house. This is the way that an angle should be built up to be made into a personal issue. So again, Impact Wrestling, congratulations. I think you are writing the best angles currently in professional wrestling after watching this show. Everything had build. Everything meant something. I also popped for finally Dave Penza actually got in the ring to do a ring introduction. Mickie always had so much to give, and she just never got given the decent angle in her last WWE run. So it's just so disappointing to see that a lot of her time was wasted in having 3-4 minute matches on Raw, which she's just putting someone over. But yet here, she's not only showing that she's still got it and she can perform in a main event style match, but she's also making Deonna look great. And this match helped both of them going forward. I think in the last few weeks, these two performed stronger than a lot of other women in the industry have in the last few weeks. It's not a knock on anyone. I just thought that these two really put on a main event that everyone should notice, a main event style match that everyone should notice. They got me with Deonna kicking out of the DDT. I thought that was going to be over. The ref bump popped me. I always love ref bumps. And, of course, Mickie winning with that tornado DDT, becoming the new Knockouts champion. So happy for her. That to show everyone that she can still do it at a high level and that she's not ready to be put out to pasture yet, as it seemed WWE were doing. Okay, bro, time to get to the main event. I'll let you take this one because you're still in a little bit of a bad mood from the Gauntlet. This match flipped your mood. Christian Cage Impact World Heavyweight Championship against the one and only Josh Alexander.
Yeah, you know what? I said while we're watching, I'm always a sucker for a well done family story in wrestling. And I say well done because I'm sure there are going to be some people that can remember back to when I was crapping on Cody Rhodes for having his wife all over the show when he's on it. That's the idea. That's the example of a family angle in wrestling done poorly. This here, the hype package, Josh Alexander said, I've got my two boys at home. They're obsessed with pro wrestling just like me. I get to be, even more of a superhero to my boys than most dads get to be to their kids because I am a pro wrestler and they love it just like me and we share that. So that immediately makes you empathize and you want to see this Josh Alexander guy be able to share that nice moment with his kids, right? If he can win the big one here. So immediately, even though I'd never really seen Josh Alexander perform, I'm invested in seeing what he does in this match here. Get to the main event. I love that there was no bullshit. There wasn't 20 minutes of fucking crap building up to it. There wasn't any overbooking bullshit. It was like Alexander came down, Christian, the champion, came down. They proceed to have a fucking hell of a match. There's a number of hectic moments. Christian took a lot of his classic bumps and, did all of his classic moves, but there was a power bomb into a backbreaker that Alexander delivered that looked pretty sickening. There was, some really tremendous action in this match, and it's getting a DJ recommendation, a Juicy Boy recommendation. Track it down, go out of your way to watch it. The pacing of this match was perfect. The storytelling of this match was perfect. The wife and the son of Josh Alexander sitting in the front row. I don't know how big of a fan of wrestling his wife may be, but she knew what she was there for. Every time the camera was on her, you saw her being invested in the match. You saw her facial expressions, her being concerned and stuff. Clearly because she actually was invested in seeing her husband wrestle. But a lot of times you see in wrestling, they try and do a similar thing. But then when the camera cuts to the spouse or the kids in the audience, they're just kind of sitting there because actually they know that it's fake and they're not actually that emotionally excited about it. And so it kind of ruins that illusion. But here, I think that his family were genuinely really emotionally invested in this. And you could tell that that Josh Alexander was feeding off that emotion. And, classy display by Christian at the end. Josh Alexander, tremendous finish, gets the win after Christian valiantly attempts to avoid the ankle lock for a third or fourth time, but can't hang on anymore. After Alexander holds down his other hand, he has no choice but to tap. Excellently done finish. Took nothing away from Christian. He still looks good coming out of this. Christian shows the class, presents him the title, has the nice hug. The family come in the ring. Tremendous moment. Already after this point, I'm giving it an A+ rating. You know, that had flipped my mood tremendously. And then here we are in the ring. Josh Alexander, he's hugging his son. He's hugging his wife with his new Impact title. Christian has just emotionally passed the torch to him and given him his respect. Matt Striker almost sounds like he's been moved to tears. He's speaking directly to Josh Alexander's other son at home and saying, your dad did this for you. Your dad's a hero. And it sounds like Matt Striker's getting emotionally invested in this moment himself as a commentator. Wow, beautiful moment. The camera is on Josh Alexander and his family. But then, who shows up but Moose? And he's got his Gauntlet trophy, which entitles him to a title shot at any time in the next 12 months that he's just won earlier in the night in an abysmal match. The look on Josh Alexander's face and the look on his wife's face of complete horror, of like the moment when they realize like this moment that they're now sharing is being threatened before they've even had a chance to let it set in, was tremendous. Like, I can't understate, or I can't stress enough how good Josh Alexander's wife actually was in helping get this over. They look horrified. The bell rings almost immediately before the Alexander family even knows what's going on. Alexander's wife tries to shuffle their older son out of the ring. Before they're even out of there, Moose levels Josh Alexander with that tremendous flipping spear that he does. You know, his wife and son look like they're about to cry. Moose covers him for the 3. Moose is your new Impact Wrestling World Champion. This brought my mood up even more because, you know, I was already happy that Alexander won the title, but now it's like they've ripped it away from him. Imagine how pissed off he's going to be now that Moose has just done that to him in front of his family in this big moment in his career and taken his thunder away. I'm excited to see where that goes. They clearly see huge things in Josh Alexander. This is actually going to get an A++, which is a historic rating for me because it was already an A+ effort. But then to go and fans that have been watching as long as us, to successfully like shock us, to successfully make us like actually mark the fuck out and go, whoa, what the fuck just happened? I can't believe they did that. That deserves praise. It is so rare in wrestling these days as a fan that I get to experience that. Amazing. And before I hand it over to you, my friend Karlifornia, I also want to point out Matt Striker, again, another tremendous call during this emotional celebration. You know, he was saying, you know, Josh, you don't have to go like handle asbestos anymore. You don't have to read through blueprints. You don't have to spend time hauling lumber. AKA, you don't need a day job anymore. You've arrived. You've arrived. You're the Impact Wrestling World Champion. You are a full-time professional wrestler. You've made your dream come true with hard work. Well done. Matt Striker, tremendous effort. I'd never seen Josh Alexander have a match before this, but that package, along with Alexander's passion and the commentators' efforts in putting over what a big deal this was, elevated this thing to A+ status. Tremendous. Well done. Golf clap.
Excellent,
for Impact Wrestling.
Excellent, bro. Excellent. And I like that you gave it an A++. It's like Dave Meltzer being like, oh well, you know, I've got a 5-star system, but because this match was like with Okada in like Japan, I'm gonna have to give this one like 6.5 stars. I mean, my God. But bro, okay. I needed to get that little bit of comedy in there. I'm a fan of wrestling for 23 years at this point, right? So going into something like this, haven't watched Impact in many years, see that this headlined by Christian Cage versus Josh Alexander, me not recognizing his name, the first thing I would think is, oh man, I hope I care about this. I hope I care about this. And then as I said earlier, within 2 minutes, a little package. Okay, I'm invested. I like Josh Alexander. I know everything there is to need to know about him going into this. Excellent. But I just wanted to say, like, that's an interesting point. Being a bitter wrestling fan for 23 years at this point, having not really enjoyed a lot in the last 10, 15, it's nice to feel those feelings again and actually feel invested in something. Crazy seeing Christian headline a Bound for Glory in 2021 after he'd spent so many years not actively working. I wanted to give a shout out to the Powerbomb backbreaker that I was like, I'd never seen something like that before. This was believable. This was a fight. People aren't getting fucking kneed in the head 40 times, and kicking out over and over and over again. It didn't need stuff like that in order to have us invested emotionally and suspend our disbelief. The spear on that Christian hit, that was when it kicked into high gear. It started off slow, methodical, and then it built and 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 it built. And then the spear, that's when I feel the high gear. Now, like, it's dramatic. It's like we know the finish is coming soon. It's coming our way. This is exactly what a main event match of your biggest show of the year should be all about. Followed up soon after that with the splash off the top rope. Great kick out there, the way that they built this up. I think Josh hit a move called the Chaos Theory or something like that roll through German. I thought it was over at that point. But again, that the great finish of the match with the ankle lock and all that, stepping on the hand of Christian, what a great little detail to add there. So, we both gave this a bit of time with our review, but we both brought up different things that we noticed and thought were important to bring up. And that little detail was just so important to the way that the match finished. Christian bestows him, gives him the pat on the back, passes that torch. I don't know if this means Christian's probably just going to be back into just doing AEW or not. I hope he does come back to Impact a little bit here and there because, I'm not going to keep whinging about AEW, but I'm concerned that he's not going to get the position and the stories and the character work necessary for him at this point of his career, because they got so many guys over there. It would be good for him to keep creating moments and memories in a company that can give him that time. As you said, Striker's call, great end to the show. Couldn't believe Striker was crying. The Moose bit, loved that, loved it. Loved the fact that after the 3 count, Brian Hebner's look in his face when he looked at Moose like, I can't believe you just did that. After this guy worked so hard all these years, you could see it just in his face. The story is being told in the referee's face. I can't believe you did that. How disgusting that you would do that right now when he's with his family and his family are in the ring, and you take that away from him right now. Brilliant work, Brian Hebner. And if I ever interview you, I'm going to tell you about that. And of course, loved Moose standing over Josh whilst the son was, being held by his father, and, the wife's, crouching down, looking up at him, and he's standing over the like, what a pig.
Like
what a great character, bro.
Like he came in late in a 20-person gauntlet match that included women and won that by basically doing nothing, and then came out and won the world title by basically doing nothing, and then had the goal to stand in the ring like he'd accomplished
like
something.
he really achieved something important there. He put in the hard yards for that one. Unbelievable, bro. Okay, so that brought us to the end of the show. Didn't see it coming. Bro, what is your rating out of 10?
I am going to go ahead and give Bound for Glory 2021 a 7.5.
Excellent, bro. I'm going to give Bound for Glory 2021 an 8 out of 10. A 10 out of 10 is like a WrestleMania 17. It's like an ECW One Night Stand 2005. That's difficult to get. So please, no one out there be upset by that.
Honestly, just for reference, I was going to say 9 out of 10. All Out this year was 9 out of 10. So that is how good a show has to be to kind of get one of those last 2 numbers.
Exactly. A 10 is like one that a pay-per-view you can watch over and over and over again. Doesn't matter how many times you've seen it. But like All Out, I wouldn't watch that over and over again. One time was enough for me. But anyway, enough about all that. This was a fantastic show. Loved it. I'm interested to see a little bit more of Impact now going forward. So we'll see where we go in the next few months. I know they got a pay-per-view in January, so we'll see how we go, bro. But Juicy Boy, let everyone know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube and Instagram. And all of that, I am at Juicy Boy. Subscribe, follow, share, like, all that good noise. Instagram, Juicy_boy. You can also follow me right here on the WZWA Network. And just in case you don't already know how to spell it, that is spelled JOOSEYBOY. Juicy Boy. See you on social media, guys.
Excellent, bro. I'm Karlifornia, and you can find me at Karlifornia WZWA. That's KARLIFORNIA WZWA. You can find WZWA Network right here on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Heaps of shit. Heaps of shit. We've even got to have a hotel room now. WZWA Network HQ.
We even have a
yes,
parlor.
bro.
I was just going to say, we even have a parlor account, but no, we don't.
You can find us anywhere. You just got to type in WZWA Network, any platform. I promise you'll find us there. But Juicy Boy, thank you for your time, bro.
Thank you, my friend.
And thank you, everyone out there, for watching the WZWA Network's review show here of Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory 2021.
And
I'm
until
Karlifornia,
next
alongside Juicy Boy. Until next time, we will see you down the road.
Down the road.
Thank you.